What's going down with Doctor Who people? Simon back with another video. Today is my review of episode 5 of the Doctor Who season Flux, Survivors of the Flux. Wow. Um, where to begin with this episode? First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay. The Timeless Child storyline in general, I hate it. I hate everything about it. I think it's stupid. I think it's a way to undermine what has come before, to erase some history of the show. I think it's a way for Chris Chibbs to put his mark on the show and have his mark on the show forever, so his era can never really be forgotten. I mean, it's never going to be forgotten. I wish we could forget some of it. But yeah, going in and trying to rewrite the story, the sort of history of a show and the origins would be difficult in any show. But in a show that's been going this long, I can understand why people hate it. It's harder for me to actually understand why people like it, because it's kind of sort of, I don't want to swear in this review, but pooping on that's just a nice word for it, on everything that's come before, really, and kind of making it a little bit meaningless. Also, I feel like revealing too much of the Doctor's past takes away the entire mystery of the character, and it's kind of like in a horror movie. Sometimes you don't even have to be shown things sometimes to know that there's stakes or something is going to happen. If you're good at making television, you don't have to over explain everything. And I've talked about this tons to do with Doctor Who before, about how everything's over explained. And I know it's made for kids as well, so there are going to be things that need to be explained, but kids aren't that dumb. They will get it. It will get into their brains and they will understand. So the over explanation of the Doctor's origins, where the Doctor came from, and all that just really annoys me. I always remember Andrew Cartmel was a writer for Doctor Who, the original Doctor Who, before it got cancelled, and he wanted to do an entire series of Doctor Who. He done loads of Doctor Who books where it was the Doctor's origins were more of a mystery, and they were making him sort of a bit dark and mysterious, and just making the Doctor more intriguing to people. But all of that has been completely taken away. I'm not just saying it's the Timeless Child. I'm saying I think overall in Doctor Who, I think we've found out it's happened in the Stephen Moffat era as well. It's just like, why do you always have to go back and find out where they come from? That doesn't matter. We already know who the Doctor is. It's already an established character. We're more interested in where the Doctor's going, not necessarily where they've been before. So I could write about that the whole video, but I won't. I'll get to the episode. So yeah, that's my thought on those sorts of changes to especially to a show like this that's been going so long. And I've other people been speaking about as well. I'm a massive Star Trek guy as well, and the same things happened to Star Trek. In some ways, you're going into bits, and don't even get me started on Discovery. So, but yeah, anyway, so let's go into the episode itself. Yeah, it's a terrible episode of Doctor Who, unfortunately. I don't really think that this episode, and which is strange because I really liked the last one, and although this series hasn't by any stretch of the means been anywhere near one of the best series of Doctor Who, it really hasn't been bad, and I have quite enjoyed a few of the episodes. Like I said, I'm enjoying the Doctor the least out of that, because this is not my, it's not my, is it my least favourite incarnation of the Doctor? I'm not sure. We'll get onto that in another video. I'll do my top 10 rated Doctors or something. But top 10? There's more than 10, Simon. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going off on a crazy rant now. Yeah, so yeah, the episode was pretty dull, probably pretty confusing for people that haven't been keeping up for any episodes and maybe have stopped in to look at this. The flux is just pointless, something created just to erase the universe because the Doctor's in it, because the Doctor found out about division. I mean, that's rubbish. It's just crap writing. Um, they even made Dan, who I've quite enjoyed in this series, rather bland, and Jericho and Yaz going around, and I could see what they were trying to do with that, but it just wasn't any fun. A lot of convenience things happened in this episode as well, them finding the guy who made the tunnels, and it was just a mess of writing. Really, not a terrible episode of Doctor Who, and probably will go down as one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who, purely for the fact that it's got the Timeless Child storyline in it. So, and I know everyone hates that already, but yeah, I mean, I have watched a couple of other reviews before. I'm doing this on the Monday, unfortunately, because I had my sister here this weekend and we got far too drunk, and I was well too hungover to make this video yesterday. And I'm not going to take anything from anyone else's reviews and put it in mine, but I do agree with a lot of things that that people said about it, especially with the Timeless Child storyline being in there and everyone just basically hating on it anyway. Another thing I didn't get as well, which annoyed me, is the pocket watch. I thought that was just what the David Tennant's Doctor used to put his memories in when he sort of had to hide himself. So why is it like a really similar pocket watch now? So was that something that the Doctor done in the past and then obviously repeated it when it was there? So I just thought that was stupid. Why did you have to have it as the same thing? It's just like it's just a bit like Doctor Who's getting like Star Wars got at the end. Like, oh, you remember this, don't you? Oh, you remember that, don't you? It's just like loads of sort of nostalgia and bits of old Doctors thrown in. I know Doctor Who has done that a lot in the past, but can't we just move on? Can't we just go forward? And occasionally, if a character or a Doctor or something comes into the show, it can be a treat. Why do we have to keep going through the same tropes all the time? It's really. This is such a negative review from the last one. I just realised how negative I'm being. But yeah, look, I'm looking at my notes now, and I'm like, it just literally says the episode was generally terrible. Yeah, it's literally what my notes say. It was not good. I don't know if she's been in it before, but meeting the Doctor's like stepmom, that was awful. That was horrendous as well. And I was glad when she got killed, which and because it's just everything's messed up, and they just randomly had an Ood in there. You remember the Ood, don't you? Sure. I mean, a lot of people talk about the last episode and that, they think that they sort of over-explained and kind of ruined the Weeping Angels. I don't think they did. I think, they were, treading, well, they were right on the cusp of going too far. But I don't think they did in that. I know it was a little bit, but I still really liked the episode generally. And I don't think that they've ruined the Weeping Angels, so they didn't do it with that. But throwing in random characters just to say, hey, you remember, I mean, that Ood could have literally been anyone. The Doctor didn't do anything this episode. The one thing she didn't do, which is probably the best bit of the episode, is sit there and over-explain herself with everything she was doing, which is great. But she was having everything explained to her this episode, and everything else was just a mess. Yeah, it was just everywhere. You hardly got any Vinda storyline, which didn't think. Bell was doing something. Carvinister was doing something. I don't know. It was a terrible episode of Doctor Who, unfortunately, and it's such a shame because I'm just saying the trailer made it look good. The trailer makes horrendous movies look great these days for like a minute and a half. Then you go and see the film and you're like, God, I want my money back. But yeah, I really thought we were going to get something from this one. And although the one thing they did do, which fair enough, which I said I thought they were going to do, is they've actually given us some storyline and some head to the episode in the second from last episode rather than cramming it on into the last episode. So I know it was all terrible and all stuff I hated, but at least they done that and they're not going to jam it all into one episode. So yeah, I mean, the other bit I want to talk about as well is I agree with people that have said that it was just when the Doctor turns into a Weeping Angel at the end of the last episode, you're like, oh my God, wow, never seen that before. That's actually saying you what's going to happen. Instantly, she just comes out of it. So it was just kind of baiting you into watching the next episode, which I thought was stupid. There's been a lot of that. That happens a lot in sort of the Doctor Who cliffhangers, I know, because most of them are baiting because you know the Doctor's going to survive. But I think she just come out of that too quickly. It would have been seen to call to something, I don't know, something cool to happen. I don't know. I'm telling you right now, I could sit down for 5 minutes and have, from watching the last 4 episodes have structured a better last 5th and 6th episode myself. And I've written like 2 things. Like, I just can't get over how terrible this episode was. Stick on my notes. Let me see if there's anything else I can get from there. No, that's it. That's everything I have. And Unit as well. So they're even trying to go in and say that someone from the Division was the one that started to sort of manipulate Unit from day one. So again, changing loads of stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to do a good or bad thing like I normally do, because this episode was all bad. I honestly couldn't tell you one good thing about this episode. I can't remember anything good from it. If there's something good about this episode, please tell me in the comments, and we'll chat about it. And maybe I'll go, oh yeah, there was one good thing in this episode. They even made Vinda and Belle, 2 of the people that I've really liked, and Dan and Carvanista's pretty cool. They all done nothing. Nothing was brought to the story. Everything was coincidence. It was horrendous. So I'm going to give this episode 1 Cyberman out of 5. Maybe even a 0.5. It's a terrible episode. It won't be looked back on fondly, and it won't be one of the ones that anyone will be rewatching anytime soon, unless they were doing a load of Doctor Who and they were watching the Flux season. But not going to be one of the first ones that I go back to. I can tell you that much. So next week, then the Sontarans turn up at the end, which makes sense. I said this in the Sontaran review. I think I actually might have even said it in the first or second episode. Sontarans will try and take over Earth because it's the last place they can take over in their universe. They're just trained and programmed to just want to fight and want to take over wherever they can. So if the Flux is surrounding everything and Earth is the point that it's going to hit on, that's the one place they're going to want to take over, whether they die or not. So that bit doesn't make me mad, because that actually makes sense for their type of, for their sort of character traits. So that's fine for me. But yeah, in the next episode, we see Cybermen, we see Daleks, obviously Sontarans. We saw loads of stuff. I can't remember. There was a few other things in the trailer as well. So, I mean, it's not going to be redeemed unless they retcon the Timeless Child, because I think we're going to find out even more stuff we don't want to know about the Doctor next week. But you never know. We might now be baited. I mean, this probably ain't going to happen. We might be baited into the Timeless Child storyline, and then something happens and that doesn't happen. But I don't think that's going to happen, if that makes any sense. My brain hurts from thinking about this episode. But yeah, what did you guys think? Please tell me in the comments, and please like this video if you like them, because I really enjoyed doing these, and I will do these for the specials and all the new Doctor, and I'll do some more Doctor Who themed videos. Obviously, most of my stuff is festivals and all that sort of stuff. So I am going to get really, really back into the Doctor Who side of things. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next video.